Hi, I'm Brad Rosley. Thanks for tuning in again today to Smart Money. Today's topic is money in marriage. And before I get too far, I want to remind you to go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel for future updates. Money in marriage is something that I deal with all the time. Most of my clients are married, and I get to see up close and personal all their issues as they relate to money. Most couples are quite different about money. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, etc. How people are raised impacts them as well dramatically. So I get to see this all the time. I've also been married for over 20 years. I've been a certified financial planner now for just as long. And I can give you a few really good tips. I'm going to give you 4 pointers today that most of you should be able to use. The first tip is kind of a funny one. My dad gave me this advice, and he said, marry a woman more frugal than you. Well, I was already pretty frugal based on how I was raised. But ideally, you want to marry a spouse that's more frugal than you. Someone that will hold in the reins a little bit. If both of you are frugal, then you're going to do really, really well. Chances are that one of you might be more inclined to be a spender. My second rule is, in any case, take turns paying the bills in the house. Unfortunately, most couples set it up so that only one of them's ever paying the bills. And they may be because that's what they like to do, and the other spouse may want nothing to do with that. But at least once in a while, the other spouse needs to be made aware of where the money's going. Being in the dark is not a smart place to be when it comes to finances. So please, take turns. I do that with my wife, even though I'm a financial planner, once a year, and she dreads it. I go through all my bills. It also makes her appreciate me that much more too, which is not a bad thing. So that's number 2. Number 3 is hugely important, an actual financial decision. Buy a home significantly cheaper than what the mortgage lender will tell you that you can afford. Now, your realtor might not like that either, but it's in your best interest to buy a house way under what you can afford. I'll give you several reasons why. First and foremost, if you do that, you're going to have a lot extra surplus cash because you're not putting it towards the mortgage or the taxes that would go with that or the other utility bills that would be higher. With that excess cash, you could travel more. You could go out and entertain more. Ideally, you could save more money. And maybe the biggest thing of all is if you've bought that home based on a joint income, you're kind of tied to both working in those same jobs. You might want to have the flexibility for one of you to stop working or work part-time or work in some other capacity that's making less money. So you don't want to have your hands tied that you have to work, especially when you bring kids into the picture. If one of you wants to stop working and you can't because you have this huge mortgage payment that was based on both of your incomes, it's not a very good place to be. So I strongly recommend you buy less house than what you can afford. And the last tip I have is one that I love. It's one that I've used for a long time. And that is, give yourself a cash allowance for everything you buy at a cash register. I know today everybody's using debit cards and credit cards, and most of the people I work with actually pay them off every single month, and they're very proud of that. I'm telling you that when you whip out plastic, you spend more money. It's just different than when I reach in my wallet, okay? So when I reach in my wallet and I have actual cash money that I'm spending here, I think of it differently. I'm parting with money. It's harder to part with. And by doing that, now I've created my discretionary spending as a fixed amount. I get a couple $100 a week from the ATM once a week, and that's all I spend. I don't do the credit card thing. It makes my life so easy. By the way, I don't have my wife worried about what I spend my $200 on. She has her cash. She can spend it any way that she wants. It gets us out of that idea of not valuing what the other spouse may be valuing and want to spend their money on. So those are my tips for today. There's more about this in the description. You'll see links to my blog on this topic. I also write about it in my book, Beyond Money. That's available on Amazon. Thanks very much for listening. Have a great day.